Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel AWS DevOps Niche Level. In this video, we will see how to install Terraform on Windows, and we will try to create a S3 bucket in AWS from Terraform using the Terraform's manifest file. So that's the lab we are going to do. So if you refer to my first video, that is few weeks before, I had put a video on how to install Terraform on Linux. So if you have not watched that video, you can actually click on the link above. And in this video, we will try to install the Terraform on Windows and try to interact with the S3 service. Let's move ahead. So I would just suggest only one prerequisite before we move ahead. That is, you can have Git installed in your system so that we can use this Git bash terminal in order to run our Terraform commands, right? So that is the only prerequisite I would suggest you can have Git installed. Now let's move into the lab demo. So the first step will be, let me go ahead and download the Terraform for Windows. So that is, we have a direct link for it, but I'm going to search in Google and we will download the Terraform version for Windows. So in Google, I'll just search download Terraform for Windows. So you will see the first link here, HashiCorp developer, install Terraform. Let me click it. And here you can see the binaries available for various operating systems. I'm going to select Windows. And my processor is AMD 64. So I'm going to select this version 1.5.7. And let me click download here. Okay, so it has downloaded the Terraform version. So what I will do is probably I will create a folder. So I have downloaded Terraform to my C drive and I have created a folder called Terraform. So now we will see if you are able to execute the Terraform commands. So I'm going to open the Git bash. So as I told you, bash will be one of the prerequisite which comes by installing Git. So here I'm going to see if I can run the Terraform commands. So let me first navigate to the C drive and I will go to the folder called Terraform. And here, let me execute the command Terraform just to see if it is giving any output. But you can see that Terraform, it is saying the command is not found. So if I say /Terraform, now you can see that it is giving all the arguments. So basically it is working with a /, but if you just give Terraform, it's not taking it. So in order to address this issue, what we need to do is we need to add the path for this Terraform. So basically we can add the path in the environment variables. So I'm going to search for the advanced settings. And here, if I click the environment variables, and let me select for path here. And in this path, I'm going to add a new path, which is C:/Terraform. Now let me click OK. And for the changes to take effect, I'm going to exit this session and then open a new session. Now let me go into the C drive and I will go to the Terraform directory. Now if I give Terraform, you can see that now it is just working with Terraform. No need to give a /. Basically, once you add the path, that issue will be taken care of. So now what is our next step? So our next step is to install the AWS CLI. So let us go ahead and download the AWS CLI, which is available from this URL. So we have two ways basically to download the CLI. you can see that we have the section for Windows, and under Windows, there is an option to download and run the AWS CLI MSI installer for Windows. Either you can just click this and download this, or otherwise, we can also install it using the MSI exec utility. So what I will do, let me just copy this command and I will go into the command prompt and I will execute this. That is msi exec.exe/i. I'm giving the URL where the CLI latest version is available. Now you can see that it has started to install the AWS CLI. So I'll just click next. It looks like it's already installed. So I'm just saying change. Anyway, it was going to replace the existing installation. Yes, here. Okay. So the AWS CLI has been installed. So if I want to verify it, I just give the command AWS here, or let me open the new session of command prompt. So just give the command AWS. Yeah, now the command is working, which means that the CLI is installed successfully. So now the next step is, after you download and install the CLI, we need to create a user with an admin permission, especially the admins for the S3 service. So I'm going to create a user with the S3 full access and then provide a programmatic access to that user. Why S3 full access? Because we are going to use Terraform to create a S3 bucket. So the Terraform needs some authentication to talk to the S3 service. So for that only we are creating this user and giving full permissions for the S3 service. Right. So let me go to the IAM console and I'm going to create a user called S3 admin. So I will search for IAM. Okay, there is already one user available. Let me go ahead and just delete this user and then I create a new one. Okay, so I'll say create user and let me give it a name as S3 administrator. So I do not want the AWS management console access. Instead of that, I want the programmatic access, right? So I just click next here and attach policies directly. And I'm going to attach the S3 full access policy so that this user will have full permissions on the S3 service, right? So I click next and then I just say create user, right? So once the user has been created, if I go into the security credentials here, and I can create an access key, because if at all you want to provide a programmatic access to this user so that the commands can be accessed from the AWS CLI. So basically we have to create the access keys. So let me go ahead and click create access key, and from which medium we are going to interact with the AWS services. It is via the command line interface. So I'm going to select the CLI here and then just click this confirmation, click next, and we can give it a tag authentication to AWS. And then we can create the access keys. So you will see that there is a file available for the download. So let us open this file, and with this file only we have to configure our AWS CLI so that Terraform can talk to the AWS cloud and create a S3 bucket. So how do you configure the AWS CLI? So let me go back to my command prompt. So here I give the command AWS configure, and it is going to ask you for the access key ID. So let me go to my Excel file and I will copy the access key ID. You can see this is the access key ID. We copy it and paste it here. What is the secret access key? Again, I'm going to get it from this file. Now, what is the default region name? I'm currently in the US West region, and I'm also going to create a bucket in US West -2, so we can leave it the same. And default output format is anyways JSON, so we can leave it as it is. So now we have configured the AWS CLI and we have provided the credentials for Terraform to authenticate with AWS. So now let us go ahead and build a Terraform manifest file to create a S3 bucket. So via the git bash, I am creating one manifest file for Terraform in order to create an S3 bucket in AWS. So this is how the manifest file will look like. You can see resource, and I'm also mentioning the cloud provider name, and this is your resource type, S3 bucket, right? And I'm giving a label as data. And what is the name of the bucket that I'm assigning it to the variable bucket. So this manifest file of Terraform is just simply going to create a S3 bucket with the name test bucket 110.23. So now let me save this file. Okay, so now we will try to execute the command terraform init. So terraform init is a command which is going to download the, you can see here, it has successfully, initialized the Terraform. So the main step that it has done is it has downloaded the AWS provider, because the cloud provider we are using here is AWS, right? So it has downloaded the AWS provider, which is going to enable the communication between Terraform to the AWS cloud, right? So based on the cloud infrastructure that you are using, appropriate providers will be downloaded by this Terraform. And that happens especially when you give the Terraform init command, right? So now you can see that it is saying the provider has been successfully downloaded, and this is the provider version AWS v5.19.0. So now Terraform init is done. The next step is we will do a Terraform validate. So validate command is going to check the syntax of the manifest file, whatever we created, and if at all there is a syntax problem, it's going to point out that if everything is fine, it will say it's success. So let us verify this command, Terraform validate. You can see here it is saying success, the configuration is valid. So next will be the Terraform plan command. So what this Terraform plan will do, it is basically going to do a mock execution of the action, whatever we have mentioned in the Terraform's manifest file. It is not actually doing that action, but it is just doing a mock execution just to confirm us whether this action will be successful or not, right? So here you can see that it is giving a problem that there is no valid credential sources found, right? Basically, it is looking for the credentials. I think we already configured it. Let me just double check that again. If I give AWS configure, okay, so it's asking for the access keys. Let me just check the access keys. Or we can directly get it from the AWS console. Just give me a moment. Let me quickly log into AWS. And I will go into the EAM dashboard. Right, so I'll go into the users. This is our S3 administrator user, what we just created. And if I go into the security credentials, okay, so let me go ahead and create one more access key. Command line interface. Next, I will say this is application for Terraform. So team, there is one access key which I created before. I don't know where that file gone, right? So that's why I'm creating one more access key here. So let me use this credentials. And I'm going to do a configuration with this access key. So access key ID is this. Then I'll enter the secret access key. Region name, I will give it as US-West-2 because I want to create the bucket in the Oregon region. Output format will be JSON by default. I'll just say JSON and just exit, right? So now we have done the configuration. Now let me try the Terraform plant command again now. And let us see if it is able to communicate with the AWS cloud. Okay, great. So now it's able to communicate. You can see that it is giving a preview that this bucket, the bucket will, with this name will be created, right? So I think we should be good to go. Now let us give the command Terraform apply, so that basically, the resource will be directly created in the AWS cloud. So I just say Terraform apply. So enter a value. I'm going to say yes here. You can see that it is creating the bucket. Great. So it is saying apply is complete. The bucket has been created, and the bucket name is test bucket 11023. So the resource has been successfully created. Now let us go ahead and check in the AWS console if the bucket is available. So if I search for S3, I'll go into the S3 console. Okay, great. See here, you can see that this bucket has been created. It has been created by the Terraform. It's test bucket 11020. So this is how basically you install Terraform on a Windows server, and then you configure your AWS CLI, create a user for the authentication, configure the access keys and the secret access keys in the CLI again, and then you execute your Terraform commands, starting with init till apply. Okay. So now, if at all I want to delete this bucket, I can also give the command Terraform destroy, right? So that it is going to remove the resources, whatever we have provisioned. You can see here, it is saying that it is refreshing the state. And in the process, it is basically deleting the S3 bucket, what was created. Again, it is asking for a value. So I'm just saying yes. Okay, S3 bucket destroying, one resource destroyed. Okay, now if I go back and check for the resource, it's not going to be available, right? So if I go to buckets and do a refresh, you can see here, the same Terraform has deleted the bucket also with the command Terraform destroy. Okay, so I hope this lab was helpful to you, team. And I also just wanted to highlight that I'm also conducting training sessions on AWS and DevOps, right? So if anyone would be interested to take up the training, you can feel free to send an email to the mentioned email ID. So I'll be providing details about the course modules, what I will be covering, along with the fee details. So whoever is interested, please send an email to me. And DevOps, it's going to be more of comprehensive training coverage across all the tools, starting from GitHub, Maven, Jenkins, SonarQube, JFrog, Artifactory, right? Ansible, Jenkins, Ansible, Docker, Kubernetes, and I also cover the Helm charts, etc., and the CI/CD pipeline involving all these tools, right? So whoever is interested, please, you can send an email to the mentioned email ID. So as part of my training, it is going to be an online training via the Zoom, and class recordings will be uploaded onto the Google Drive chat, and you will be given the access. So it's going to be typically taking 5 to 6 weeks of duration to complete the training, and it is fully focused on the hands-on exercises. Fine. So I think that's all I had for this video. If you have any feedback, comments, if you are looking for any other specific content, please feel free to put in the comment section. Thanks for all your support, and I will catch you all in my next video. Thank you so much. In my next video. Thank you so much.